my desktop, let me create a directory called as a test. So I've just created a directory called as test, and then I am going into test. So where am I? I am inside test now. So this is my location, and test does not contain anything. Test is empty. Test does not have anything. So we will be making use of this particular directory to have our project, our node based project, and from that particular project we will be talking to the database. We will be making use of SQLite, and we will be making use of Prisma as an ORM tool to talk to that particular database. So that is the entire idea of this particular webinar. All right. So, assuming that you guys have some kind of touch with Node thing and the NPM thing, it will be great. Even otherwise, if you do not know about Node already in depth or something like that, right? Not a big deal. After watching this particular course and with the techniques and the jargons we see here, right, it will be very, very easy to catch up for you. All right. So now again, let me see where we are. We are in the test directory. And from the test directory, what is our first step? Our first step is to initialize the package.json. So package.json, we can initialize it from either here, from the terminal, or let us go to our editor. We will make use of Visual Studio Code. So that is already been configured in this particular system. So let me just clear my screen and then just say code dot, which will open my Visual Studio Code. And from here, so let me open my terminal from the Visual Studio Code. And from here again, let me check that I'm in the correct directory. And from this particular directory, let us initialize the package.json file. So as you can see here, this is my test directory, which does not have anything. So let me quickly do npm init to get a package.json file. So accept the defaults. So going with the defaults, right? I just say yes at the end. So as you can see here in the left hand side, you can see package.json file that has been created, right? So I have the basic package.json file created, which will contain all my dependencies for my node project. And let us now go ahead and create our or get our required dependencies, right? Including our developer dependencies. So what all we need? So let us make use of Express to create a basic web server. So which is our next point here, which is point number 3. Get Express as a dependency. So let us get Express as a dependency here. So again, coming back to Node here, coming back to Visual Studio Code, sorry, from our command line, to get Express, you do npm -i, right, which is install, and then you can say Express. By default, it will save in your local directory only, right? So this is automatically to your local, it is the same thing. So you need not be explicit by saying save, right? So your latest version of npm, right, does it automatically. So if I do a npm express, it gets saved here, right? Just a second, guys. Did we start recording?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. All right. So we have our express here, guys. So as you can see here, package.json, and inside package.json, we have our dependency, which is express. So express is done, and what is our next step? Let us also make this particular project a TypeScript based one. So let us get the TypeScript dependency. In fact, we'll have TypeScript and these particular guys as developer dependencies. So let us do that. So that is our next step here, right? So our next step is to have TypeScript. So we do a npm init, sorry, npm I to install, and then let us install TypeScript, and then let us install what is called as ts-node, guys. So it is ts-node, as you can see here. ts-node is the execution engine. So ts-node, which is the execution engine which is responsible for executing our TypeScript based project. So our project that we'll be creating will be a TypeScript based one. So we have this engine called as ts-node, and then let us have some support for type definitions of node and express by including types slash node and at the rate types slash express, and then save these particular guys as developer dependencies by saying underscore underscore, sorry, dash dash save dash dev, right? So this is one way, right? Or you can say it via this way also. Whatever you choose, both are the same. Hyphen hyphen capital D is also the same as hyphen hyphen save hyphen dev, right? Save these particular guys as developer dependency. So as you can see here, as I hit enter and as you can see here in the top, this gets saved as a developer dependency. It says some error 404. Okay, so what we have TS node, types node and types express. So types node, types express, we have saved. So there is some client side error. So let us try this again. Okay, so there is a typo here, guys. So the typo here is type. So let us have this as type. So as you can see here, this is type. I have just typed it as type. So it should be exactly types. So this is okay now. So there was a typo. Now as you can see here, it shows as dev dependencies, right? And all has been saved as dev dependencies, developer dependencies. All right. So we have that. And then let us proceed to the next step. So let us initialize. Now this is optional, right? Now as a best practice, let us initialize when you have a particular TypeScript based project and when your project becomes complex. Essentially, guys, you will be typically tinkering around with this particular configuration file as well, which is your TypeScript configuration file, as the name says tsconfig. So let us do an initialization. Although we'll not be working on this particular file, so let us have this as well, so that if in case we are going to work with this particular project in future and make some configuration on the tsconfig file, right? We can do it. So how do we do that? We do it by making use of npx rather than npm. We can say npx, which will execute our module inline. Say npx hyphen hyphen init. So as you can see here in the left, you have got a tsconfig.json file, which is a long file with so many different configurations that you can tinker around with later as you get complex with your particular. This is just for reference here in this particular case. So all right, so that was our next step. Now let us create and test a web server that sends a JSON value. So now we have our Express and all the basic dependencies available. Now let us go over here and create a using the Express support. All right, so let us close this guy and come over here and create a small file, which is a TS file. Say let's say ssn hyphen faculty server, which will hold the information of our college faculty. All right, so ssn faculty server dot ts. So this is our ts file, right? And in our ts file, let us import express. So let us import express and then have our request and response and express as well. So import from express and then import, we can say express from express. And then also let us have our request and response. So and then let us go ahead and create a app, which is a const. Sorry guys, const app, and let us say this as express. So we instantiate an express object, and then we go ahead and make use of this app and then do a get, and then we will come to this get. Okay, and then we will do a listen as well, and listen on a particular port so that we can start the server and then send a JSON object. So what we want to do, just want to send a JSON value. So to send a JSON value, guys, we can come over here to get, and then we can specify the first parameter. We can specify a route here. So the route we are specifying as the first parameter, and the second parameter we will specify arrow function, which takes in two parameters, which is our request and the response. So let us have our request saved in REQ, which is a request, and the second parameter here is our response, which is res. Let us save. Sorry, let us not save. Let us have this as of type response. All right, and this is an arrow function. So let this okay, let this return a JSON object. So res is our response. So response dot, instead of maybe send, we can do a JSON to send a JSON object, and let us try it with a simple name value pair or a key value pair. Say the value might be, say, my name or some name. So let me say it as a, this is our root route, and let this route be listened on a particular port. All right, so let us say port. So let us create a variable called as a port and make use of that for readability, so that if you want to change the port later, you can change it here in line number 4. So say const to 3000. All right, let us come over to here in line number 10 and then listen for that particular port. And then let us have an anonymous function with no specific parameters, and then start listening on that particular port by doing a console.log and then listen to it. Say listening on port, and then like we can have the placeholder and specify the port. All right, so let us test this particular functionality if it works. So we can go to the command, and then we can do an npm run also. So before doing npm run, since this is a TypeScript based project, let us make use of that. So let us start with npx and then make use of the engine ts node, and then specify the file and see if it works, and then maybe we can configure it in the package.json so that we can do a npm run. All right, so npx ts node file name, it says listening on port 3000, and let us open our browser and then say localhost 3000. All right, and we have an output. So far so good, guys. Hope you are able to understand.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So let us maximize this, and then maybe split this into this so that we have a dual view and we can see the output as we code along. All right. So let us go to the next point or next step. So we have done this. We have created a test web server that sends a JSON value, and we are able to see the output. All right, next, let us come to the actual part, the fun stuff of getting the Prisma and then talking to the backend and doing some stuff. So let us get Prisma as a developer dependency. So let us do that. So what we need to do here is, first of all, let us do a control C and stop this, right? And then let us get these particular dependencies, which is Prisma. So let us again do a command J and get this Prisma as a developer dependency. So to get something as a developer dependency, what you do is you either do a -d, right, or you can do a hyphen save dev. So npm I Prisma, and let me have this as a developer dependency. So rather than saying hyphen save, so let me save it as hyphen capital D, which will also do the same thing. So if you see this package.json, developer dependency, you have Prisma. All right, so that was our this particular point. So we have Prisma as our developer dependency. Our next point or next step is to have Prisma client as a dependency. So see, Prisma is your kind of ORM that you will be making use of, right? So your ORM is now available as a developer dependency. And to talk to your Prisma, right, you need to have a client as well that will be making use of to actually talk to your ORM. So we need to have Prisma client as well. So to have your Prisma client, let us have this at the rate Prisma slash client as a dependency. So you say npm I at the rate Prisma slash client. This will install as a normal dependency. As you can see here, you have Prisma client. All right, now that we have Prisma and Prisma client, let us do some fun stuff talking to the database. All right, so what is our next step? Our next step is to initialize Prisma. To initialize Prisma, you can initialize it using npx itself. So you can say npx Prisma init. Initialize Prisma, and what it has actually done is it has created a schema for us. As you can see, uh, here under Prisma, this has been created for us schema.prisma, which is our schema for the database. All right. So as you can see here, so when you did a initialize Prisma, right, what we get is we get a schema.prisma wherein you can specify the provider, you can specify the URL, you can look into this particular website to look into the documentation and then take this particular approach that you're seeing here to talk to many other kinds of databases, including PostgreSQL. It supports MongoDB, it supports MySQL Server, it supports SQL Server, right? And all the popular databases are supported. Now, for the sake of simplicity and to understand this ORM, right? Let us make use of SQLite. So we can say this, we can say SQL here, and then we can have our URL as the file name that will get initialized. So let us delete this and then specify it as a file. So file colon dot slash, we can specify a name, say for example SSN faculty.db. Okay, so let us save this, right? Now see, we don't have this file already available, right? So when we do a migrate, so this file will be created automatically for us in our location. So that is our provider and URL. So once we have our provider and URL, now let us go ahead and create a table, right? So using the ORM, we can create a table using model. All right. So let us create a table called as model and give it a name, say faculty. So this is our faculty table, which will contain our columns or fields, right? So let us have a primary key, right? So let us say it as say ID, right? And let us have this is a string. So rather than UUID, let us have it as a CUID, which is much more better in terms of performance and indexing, right? So ID string. So you say this is a primary key by specifying at the rate ID. So you say it as at the rate ID, and then you can make use of at the rate default and then specify your QID, right? CUID. So this is a CUID, and then having said that, yeah. So having created a primary key, let us create some more fields. Say let us have a name of the faculty, which is a string, right? So every faculty has an employee code. So let us create a field called as say employee code, which is an int. Let us have one more. Say for example, the faculty experience. The experience of a faculty, say that is also an integer. All right. Now that we have a table available, now that we have created a table, we need to do a migrate, and then we can have this table on the fly, right? Created in the form of SQL. So let us do that. So let us do a command J, and then from here let us do a npx So this will ask for initial name, right? So this could be any name. So we are creating a faculty table. So let us say it as say faculty. So this is the name for the new migration that we have given, and the migration is done. So when the migration is done, you can see here from the tree, we have something called as a migration subfolder, which contains a subfolder with some number underscore faculty. The name faculty is the one that we have given. And then here you can see migration.sql, which is the SQL that got created automatically for us. All right. So that is initializing Prisma, and then we have set the provider and the URL. We have created a model table, and then we have done a migration. Now let us view the table using our Prisma Studio. What is called as Prisma Studio. Okay, so there is something called as Prisma Studio that we can make use of, right? And then see our particular table that we have created. Although it has also. So first of all, let us make use of Prisma Studio and see what we have actually created. Let us again do a npx, and from then in npx or using npx, let us run our Prisma. Sorry, guys. And from here, the terminal, studio, I guess. Yeah. So as you can see here on the right, we have a server up and running in 5555, which opens up Prisma Studio, and you can see here already like faculty is available. And when I click faculty, it doesn't have a record. Okay, since we did not create any record here, right? We can create a record here, and maybe we can retrieve that particular record via the code in the project. So let us add a record here. So let us resize this particular screen so that it is visible a little bit. So employee code, we have employee name, and this is our primary key that we have specified. So let us create a employee, say okay, name, and then employee code, mine is 20 200 257. Say experience, say around 19 years. Okay, and let me save this one change. It's not allowing me to save the change. I can discard the change. Okay, so add a record, save one change. Okay, so earlier I was not able to click on this, so I just discarded that particular change and trying it again. Let us see. All right, so name RVC, this is still okay. And if I do it as R Chandar and hit enter, this is still okay. I'm able to click. Okay. Now this is an integer. So let us have this as well. I mean, let us have the schema, right? So the schema, it shows it is E code, which is an integer. Integer, let me say 20, 200, 257. I'm still able to save, and experience is again 19. So I just repeated all this particular entry once again. Earlier, this was not working for me. Now let me hit save. Yeah, now I'm able to save it. Anyways, particular record, right? Let's retrieve that record, and this is our localhost 3000, and let us which is equal to, right, let me make use of the Prisma client, right, and retrieve the data from the faculty table that we have created here. So this is our faculty table. So from the faculty table, let us try to retrieve our particular data that we have just inserted here on the Prisma Studio. So let us go over here and first of all import the necessary library, which is our Prisma client. So let us say import our Prisma client. So it is a Prisma client. So import Prisma client from Prisma client. So import Prisma client. It is Prisma client. You can see here. Yeah. So let us import the necessary support from the Prisma client and then create a faculty constant and then have our Prisma client available in this particular part. Okay. So before that, let us create a object called as say Prisma and instantiate it via Prisma client. So let us say this is Prisma, and let us say this is new Prisma client, so that we can make use of this particular object here in the code. So let us say this is Prisma dot. Now we can see the faculty coming up here that we have created. So this is our table name, and from here we can see there are so many methods that are supported, and what we'll be using here is find many, which will retrieve all the records in that particular table. All right. So that is the syntax. Now let us uncomment this and then saying faculty name, which is Vinod, which was done here just for test purpose. Let us remove this guy and call faculty. So let us remove this and say fac. Now let us save this and then run it. So okay, this is the studio. Let us open another terminal, guys. So let the studio remain in this particular terminal. Let us create another terminal. And this is our studio terminal, and this is our terminal that we'll be using to run our TS file. All right. So okay. So before actually running this, let us come over here and come to package.json and let us give it a support so that we can make use of npm run. So what we can do here is from here under scripts we can add an entry called as say dev, so that we can run it using npm run dev rather than typing npx ts node and then the file name, right? So we can just type npm run dev. So for that, we include another script called as dev and then specify npx ts node, and then what was that? The file name is ssn-faculty-server.ts. All right. Now let us come over here and then type npm run dev. Okay. So let us refresh this. Okay, we have this, okay, working on 3000 using npm run dev. But then again, if you see this particular file ssn faculty server.ts, we have another route which actually gets our faculty from the database. The route is slash faculty. So what we have is 3000. So from here, if we say faculty, it says cannot get faculty. All right, so let us see what the problem is. So this is our faculty which is here. Let us try restarting our studio and see if things works fine. So let us stop the studio, control C, and then let us run our studio again. uh, okay, so we have stopped it. So here we are not able to get faculty. Okay, we are not able to get faculty because there is a typo here. Okay. Anyways, so let us run our studio again. Okay, now let us change this so that the spelling is faculty, and then run this once again. Okay, now let us try it out. Okay, so we have faculty, but we don't have any data over here. So we have a data actually in the database, but the data is not coming up here in the browser. So let us see what our mistake is. Okay, as we are debugging and trying to find out the mistake, I hope both of you are able to follow along.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. So let us see here what is happening. App.get slash faculty. Faculty is empty. Let us see if this is okay. Okay, this gives us name. Okay, so this is slash faculty, but slash faculty, it is giving me an empty array. We need to check on that. So let us do this again. Okay, we have this. And in our node server, Prisma.faculty.find many, we are not able to retrieve the faculty. There is some kind of small mistake happening somewhere. We need to debug that. So let us look into it once again. Yeah, this seems to be okay, but we need to find out the mistake where it is actually coming from. We have done the import Prisma client from Prisma client. All these guys are okay. We have Prisma.faculty.find many, and then we are returning the faculty. So that we are not able to get it. Okay, we have configured to run through npm dev as well, so that is also okay. So okay, let us explicitly run it via npx. Let us see if it works. Ts node, but again, let us see. Okay, so this route is working. So the other route we are not able to go. Yeah, I guess we have found out the issue here. It's an async only, and we are not able to see this, but this is an async, and we need to actually do a await here. Yeah, so let us do an await and then see. So before that, let us come over here, stop it, and then let us do a npm run dev. But before doing npm run dev, let us fix this and see if we get the faculty details. So let us do an await. Now let us come to faculty. Let us close this and let us do a faculty. Yeah, so we got the data. So that was a mistake here, right? Since it's an async, we did not do an await earlier, so we did not get the result. Now we are getting the result as expected. Cool. So far, so good, Subbalakshmi and Markandan sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So that was this. So we are done with step number 25. 26 is let us update the web server to access all the records and then test it, right? So we can do that as well. So what we can do here is we can come over here, move this little bit, add a record, and let us give it a name, say Udayan search. So let me say Udayan and give it an employee code. Exact code I don't remember. I just give a random number, say 20 200 444, and says experience is 25 years. And let me save this, right, and come over here and see if it gets reflected. I am able to see Udayan sir's record as well. All right, so that is done. So update the web server, right, to filter records and test. All right, so we have updated with one more entry and then it is getting reflected. Now let us do some filtration. So let us realign this and then come over to this particular code at this particular file, ssn faculty server.ts, and come here and do some filtering, right? So for filtering, what we can do here is to find many, we can pass an object, right? And we can say where and specify the name. All right, so where, say for example, I can say the name is again, we can have the keyword say contains or equals or something like that. So let us test one. So where the name contains, so let me say contains, and then we can say Vinod, irrespective of the case. So if I just say Vinod, and then let me come over here and restart the server, sorry guys, and reload this, you can see just Vinod. So similarly, you can play around with this, right? So there is contains, there is equals, right? Greater than, less than, all those stuff you can play around, right? So you can say where the name equals. Say just another example. If I say equals, and if I say let me say Udayan sir. So kr, it should be exactly the same. If I don't have this, right, and if I say equals, it is not going to work, right? So it should be exactly the same. So let me just stop this and restart it, and then if I run this, I should not get anything. I'm not getting anything, and it is case sensitive. So if I say it exactly as is, and then again stop this, and then restart this and restart the server and the browser, you get Udayan's name in the list. All right, so that is some filtering idea, so filtering mechanism that you can do. So let us remove these guys for now and get all the records. So we have two records here, and that is getting displayed. All right, so that was 29. And 31 is, let us do a post, right? So let us do a static post and test. Okay, say for example, let us try posting a static entry with another faculty details. So let me just copy this snippet and paste it, and then instead of doing a get, I'll be doing a post. All right. So when doing a post in line number 18, right, what you can do is you can, or you need to call create rather than find many to do a post. All right. So to do a post, let us do a create, and then let us create the data. So data, let us create the data as, what are the fields? Name, e-code, and experience. So you can say name. Say this time, let us say, let me create another faculty called as say K Kabilan, and then e-code as another integer, say 20, 200, 678. And the other one is experience, says experience is 18 years. All right, now let us save this, and then let us open this terminal. Let us stop this and restart this, and then to test it, we can test it using a thunder client, which is a similar kind of stuff, which is same as that of the postman thing that you can make use of, which is a part of Visual Studio Code, not directly out of the box. You need to install it, which is called as thunder client, right? Another extension. Okay, so using thunder client, let us use this, let us test this post functionality. So let us go to thunder client, right? So under thunder client, we can issue a new request, and the request will be to do a post on what? Post on this particular URL. So let us copy this URL and then paste it over here. All right, but this is a post. So we call post and let us do a send. See here, it went through. It gave an ID, name, employee code, experience, right? And if we refresh this, we get the third entry. And also let us verify in Prisma Studio, we have the third entry. Okay, so that is static post and test, right? Let us imitate a dynamic post and test, right? So dynamic post and test, let us try to post it via this particular body. So for that, let us make use of the functionality through the code here in TS file, right? So let us do a dynamic post, which is point number 33 here. Okay, so to do a dynamic post, what you can do is, one second guys, you can tweak this, right? So let us have the same snippet and do a dynamic post. Okay, so for the dynamic post, we need to post it from this particular body, right? So let us have this as a constant here in our server, right? From the request, right? So this will be our request, right? So this particular request is req here. So let us create a variable, say for example body, which will contain all the contents from the request. Yeah, and for this thing to work, you need to have a middleware support, right? So that middleware support is via our express.json thing, and we have already imported express. So under here, after line number 6, we can say app, which is an express instance, app.use, and we can say express.json, express.json. All right. Okay, so now we are since using this particular middleware so that we can do the handling appropriately. Now we can come over here, and here under the name we can specify it using the body. So we can say name is body dot name, e code is body dot e code, and experience is body dot exp. All right, now let us test it out. So first of all, again, let us go to the terminal and stop this guy and restart, and then come to our Thunder client, and from this Thunder client, let us write a body. So we have name, ecode, and exp. So let us create a name, say em Malati. Let us create ecode, say 20, 200, 890, and experience, say 22 years. All right, so looks okay. And let us do a post on this. So let us do a send. We can see that it is 200. Okay. Now we can refresh here and see if it is populated. Yes, it is populated in Prisma Studio. And let us come over here and see the faculty list. We have Malati Madam as well. Okay, so we have done a dynamic post also successfully. So far clear? Any questions or doubts? Uh, Fine. So let us go to the next point. Let us link another table. So let us create another table and do a test. So to create another table, let us go to the schema. Yes, sir. Markandan, sir, you are requesting control.
No, sir. I was just typing chat box. That's it. Sorry. I was just replying in chat box.
Okay, sir. So let me just continue with my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so far we have been seeing the static post and then the dynamic post, and now we are going to look into linking another table. So let us link another table and then to do a test. So to link another table where we were, let us go to our environment. So from the environment here, let us go to our table. So our table is Prisma. Under Prisma schema, we have a particular table, but then the table name is faculty. Let us create another table, and then we can make use of a join to join that particular table to the main table. Yeah. So let us go to the table. So our table is under Prisma migrations. Yeah, schema.prisma. So this is our table. From here, let us go and create a table that we will use to actually link it with our faculty. Say, for example, let us create a one-to-many mapping kind of. So every faculty has got many other responsibilities, right? So let us create another table called as, say, other responsibility. And let us copy this guy as the primary key. And this other responsibility, let us just have one more field, say called as description of the responsibility, which will be a string. And save it. Yeah. Now we have this other table, but we need to link this table and the list and the faculty table, right? Now for that we can link it using a descriptor, right? By first of all creating a name called as a faculty to link to the faculty table. So faculty and the table name is faculty that is available above. So and the relation is we can specify using at relation, and we can specify the fields. The field will be some, again it could be any name here. So let us say this is faculty ID, which will be linked with our ID here. So let us say this is fac ID, and then let us reference it to ID. So references is our ID. All right, and finally we can have fac ID. There is a typo here. It is references fac ID, which is our string. This is our fac ID. Okay, so this is how we will be actually relating to this particular faculty table through our relations, which contains fields and references. References is our ID, which is this, right? And we have our fac ID, which maps to this particular ID, which is a string, since ID is a string. Now we can do that one-to-many specification here. We can say we can have another field called, let's say, other responsibilities. So other responsibilities, and say this is other responsibility, and we can have it as an array kind of notation. So this is a one-to-many mapping, right? So now this faculty table and the other responsibility table both are linked. So since we have done this, now we need to do a migration again so that things are reflected in the studio. So let us save this and then go to our thing, and this is our studio where things are running. So let us stop this. One second. Control C. Let us stop this and then let us do a migrate again. So let us migrate and give it a name. Say this is other responsibilities. So let us call it as OR, and this is our other migration. Now let us start our Prisma Studio, and in our Prisma Studio, if you see, we have this other responsibility which has been created. So inside other responsibility, now we can have records. We can add a record. Say for example, let us add a record, and let us bring this, align this a little bit, and then let us add a record. Say one responsibility being, say, a lab in charge. Say myself, if you take, I am a lab in charge of the AT lab. So if I say AT lab in charge, all right, and we can associate it to the corresponding faculty. So our Vinod Chandar with the faculty ID, right? So that mapping is automatically taken here. So let us save this particular change and come over here. Now this is not reflected here, but we have done the association. Let us have this reflection here as well. Okay, so before that, let us maximize this and then put it alongside. Yeah. Okay, now let us have our other responsibilities also reflected here. Now we have only one responsibility here. Okay, so we can come to our file, and we can come to our place which is slash faculty, and from this area let us try to get the details of the other responsibilities. So we can come here under slash faculty, which is what here, which is what we are looking at here in this particular browser. So in line number 14, where we do app.get slash faculty, so we can come over here to the method find many, and we can try to include other responsibilities. So include other responsibilities, and we can say this as 2. Now let us save this. Let us stop the server and run it again and refresh this and see if we can get the other responsibilities. Yeah, so we get the other responsibilities also. Okay, so one faculty can have many responsibilities. We have one responsibility now that we have defined here, and as you can see here, if you go to the faculty table, so faculty table, if you can see our Vinod Chandar, he has got one responsibility, one other responsibility, and this is the other responsibility table. Yeah.